Alright, look, if you clicked on this video, you're probably in one of two camps. Either you haven't had much luck meeting women and you want that to change, or you've been getting advice from the internet that sounds good in theory but does absolutely nothing for you in practice. And I get it. Because when I was younger, I was convinced that the reason I couldn't meet anyone was because I didn't have the right opener, or I wasn't confident enough, or I needed to hit the gym more, or learn some secret technique that would unlock everything. And yeah, some of that stuff matters, but it's not the real problem. The real problem is that most advice about meeting women is either too vague to be useful or so manipulative that it turns you into someone you don't even recognize. But let me cut through all of that and give you something that actually works. Something I wish someone had told me years ago. I'm not selling you a course. I'm not trying to get you to buy some program. I just make these videos because they would have helped me, and maybe they'll help you too. Here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Most guys who struggle to meet women aren't struggling because they don't know what to say. They're struggling because they're not actually around women in the first place. Think about your daily routine right now. How many women do you interact with in a normal week? And I'm not talking about the cashier at the grocery store or someone you follow on Instagram. I'm talking about actual real-life interactions where you're in the same space, doing the same thing, where a conversation could naturally happen. For a lot of guys, that number is close to zero. You wake up, you go to work or school, you come home, you play video games or watch YouTube, and then you go to sleep. Maybe you hang out with you boys on the weekend. And look, I'm not judging that, I've been there, but you cannot meet someone if you're never in a position to meet someone. That's not a skill issue. That's a logistics issue. So before we talk about confidence or conversation or any of that, we need to talk about the most important thing, which is putting yourself in environments where you're actually around women on a regular basis. And not just around them, but around them in a context where talking to them makes sense. Because here's the thing. If you try to meet someone at the gym, you're the guy interrupting her workout. If you try to meet someone on the street, you're the random dude who approached her out of nowhere. Both of those things can work, sure, but they're starting from a position of inconvenience. You're asking her to stop what she's doing and take a chance on a stranger. That's a tough sell. What you want is to be in places where socializing is already expected, where you're not an interruption, you're just part of the environment. And the best way to do that is through activities and hobbies that naturally involve other people. This is where most guys roll their eyes and say, yeah, join a club, I've heard this before. But hear me out, because I'm not telling you to join a knitting circle or force yourself into something you hate just to meet women. What I'm saying is this. You need to find things you actually enjoy or are curious about that involve groups of people. It could be a recreational sports league. It could be a cooking class. It could be volunteer work, a book club, dance lessons, rock climbing, board game nights, trivia at a bar. Literally anything where you're showing up regularly and interacting with the same people over time. The key word there is regularly, because when you show up once, you're a stranger. When you show up every week for a month, you're a familiar face. And familiar faces are the foundation of everything. Here's why this works so well. First, you're already filtering for shared interests. If you meet someone at a climbing gym, you both like climbing. That's an instant conversation starter that doesn't feel forced. Second, you're seeing the same people multiple times, which means you're not trying to make some magical first impression that determines everything. You can have a casual chat one week, a slightly longer conversation the next, and build from there naturally. Third, you're demonstrating value just by being there and being competent at the thing you're doing. If you're good at trivia, or you're learning guitar, or you're helpful during a volunteer event, people notice that. It's social proof without you having to say a word. And fourth, you're building an actual social circle, which is how most relationships start anyway. You meet her friend or her roommate, or someone introduces you at a party that came out of the group. It compounds. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Okay, but I don't have hobbies like that. I play video games, I watch YouTube, I work, and I'm tired. And look, I'm not here to tell you to become a different person, but I am going to tell you this. If your current lifestyle isn't creating opportunities to meet people, then something has to change. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. And the good news is, you don't have to overhaul your entire life. You just need to add one or two things. One night a week where you're doing something social. That's it. Start small. Find one thing that sounds even remotely interesting and commit to going 3 times. Not once, 3 times. Because the first time you'll feel awkward and you won't talk to anyone. The second time you'll recognize a few faces. The third time you'll actually have a conversation. That's how it works. Alright, so now you're in these environments. You're around people. You're around women. What do you actually do? This is where guys overcomplicate things. They think they need some perfect line or some strategy, or they need to wait for the exact right moment. But the truth is, you just need to talk to people like they're people, not like there's some puzzle you're trying to solve. Just normal, friendly conversation. If you're at a climbing gym, you ask someone if they've tried a certain route. If you're at trivia, you make a comment about one of the questions. If you're in a class, you ask how long they've been doing it. Small talk. That's all it is. And small talk gets a bad rap. But small talk is how every meaningful conversation starts. You're not trying to sweep her off her feet in the first 30 seconds. You're just being friendly and seeing if there's a vibe. And here's the key. You do this with everyone. Not just the women you're attracted to. You talk to the guys, you talk to the older people. You talk to everyone in the group. Because when you do that, two things happen. One, you stop putting so much pressure on individual interactions. You're not thinking, oh God, this is my chance, I have to nail this. You're just being social. And two, you become known as a friendly, approachable person in that space, which makes it way easier when you do want to talk to someone you're interested in. People notice if you only talk to attractive women and ignored everyone else. It's transparent and it's weird. But if you're just a friendly dude who talks to everyone, then talking to her is just part of who you are. Now let's say you've been doing this for a few weeks. You're a regular at this thing, you've had a few conversations with someone you're interested in. You're starting to get a sense that maybe she's interested too. She laughs at your jokes, she asks you questions, she seems happy to see you when you show up. What now? This is where guys freeze up. They wait for some perfect moment that never comes, or they overthink it so much that the window closes. So here's what you do. You ask her to hang out outside of the activity. It doesn't have to be a capital D date right away. It can be casual. Hey, a few of us are grabbing food after this. You should come. Or, I'm checking out this new coffee place this weekend. Want to join? Something low pressure where it's just the two of you or a small group, and you can actually have a real conversation without the context of the activity. And if she says yes, great. If she says no or gives you a vague maybe, that's also fine. You just move on. You don't make it weird. You don't stop being friendly. You just accept that it's not happening with her and you keep doing your thing. Because here's the reality. Not everyone is going to be into you, and that's okay. You're not trying to win over every single person. You're just trying to create enough opportunities that eventually you meet someone where it clicks for both of you. And the only way to do that is to actually put yourself out there and risk rejection. There's no way around it. Every guy who's successful with women has been rejected more times than you can count. The difference is they didn't let it stop them. Let me talk about something that doesn't get said enough. The way you look matters, but not in the way you think. You don't need to be tall or jacked or have a perfect jawline. What you need is to look like you give a shit about yourself. And that means basic hygiene, clothes that fit, a haircut that's not a disaster, and taking care of your skin. This isn't about being a male model. It's about presenting yourself in a way that shows you respect yourself. Because if you don't respect yourself, why would anyone else? And I'm not saying you need to spend a ton of money. I'm saying get a haircut every few weeks. Wear shirts that fit your body. Shower and use deodorant. Brush your teeth. Wear clothes without stains or holes. Literally the basics. You'd be shocked how many guys skip this stuff and then wonder why they're not having success. The same goes for your living space, by the way. If you ever get to the point where you're inviting someone over, your place cannot be a disaster. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be clean. No piles of trash. No crusted dishes in the sink. Sheets on the bed, toilet that's not disgusting. Again, basics. Because the way you maintain your space is a reflection of how you maintain yourself. And people pick up on that. Alright, let's talk about the thing everyone struggles with. Confidence. And I hate the word confidence because it's thrown around like it's this magical thing you either have or you don't. But confidence isn't a personality trait, it's a result. It's what happens when you've done something enough times that you're not scared of it anymore. You're not confident at a new job on day one. You're confident after you've been there for 6 months and you know what you're doing. Same thing applies here. You're not going to feel confident talking to women if you never do it. But if you start having conversations, if you put yourself in social situations regularly, if you take small risks and survive the awkwardness, you build confidence over time. It's a skill, not a gift. And here's the thing about confidence that nobody tells you. Confidence doesn't mean you're never nervous. It means you're nervous and you do it anyway. Every single person you see who looks comfortable talking to strangers has felt the exact same anxiety you feel. They just push through it enough times that it doesn't control them anymore. So, if you're waiting to feel confident before you start putting yourself out there, you're going to be waiting forever. You have to do the thing first, and the confidence comes after. One more thing I want to address because it comes up a lot. A lot of guys think that if they just work on themselves enough, if they just get in better shape or make more money or become more successful, then women will just start coming to them. And look, self-improvement is great. You should absolutely work on yourself, but it's not a substitute for actually meeting people. I've known guys who are in great shape, who have good jobs, who have their life together, and they still struggle because they're not putting themselves in social situations. And I've known guys who are average looking, who don't make a ton of money, who do just fine because they're social and they're around people. So yeah, work on yourself. But don't use self-improvement as an excuse to avoid the actual work of meeting people. Here's the bottom line. If you want to meet someone, you need to be in places where you can meet someone. You need to talk to people like a normal human being. You need to take care of yourself. And you need to be okay with rejection, because it's going to happen. There's no hack, there's no secret technique. It's just about being a decent person who's actually present in social spaces on a regular basis. And if you do that consistently, over time, you will meet someone. It might take a few months, it might take a year, but it will happen. And when it does, it's not going to be because you used some perfect line or played some game. It's going to be because you were in the right place, you were being yourself, and you actually gave it a shot. So stop overthinking it. Pick one social thing to try this week, show up, talk to people, and see what happens. That's it. That's the whole thing.